It's been too long since we talked to Megyn Kelly, so let's get her on the telly right now. Of course, the host of the Megyn Kelly Show on Sirius XM in the United States. You can find it on YouTube podcast as well. Rockstar, nice to talk to you again.
Great to be back with you.
So the intro to talk to you is about this high. So let's go through as much as possible, as fast as possible. So, new ABC News poll comes out of that lefty media organisation that shows the extreme majority of Democrats don't want him to run, but before people get too excited, he would still win theoretically by 1 point against Trump. So what's actually happening?
Yeah. So I do think they want Biden to be replaced. They think he's too old. The young people don't understand at all how Biden could run again in the Democratic Party. But I think they need to be very careful because Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, has already said he'll run if Biden steps down. And he's got great hair. Great hair. And that will conclude the list of things that will appeal. I think Joe Biden came as close on the 60 Minutes interview he did last week as he has yet to telegraphing he's not going to run. I think he's not going to run. And now they're in a pickle because we forgot about Kamala Harris. Are they just going to step over the black vice president, female vice president, for the white guy out in California? Good luck with that, Democrats, after all the stuff they lecture us on. So they're in a tight and a tough position that I don't envy. But I don't think he is going to run again, and I think it's going to be a free-for-all, and good luck to them because there's no clear winner. They can't dump her easily, and they don't have a rising star.
Well, and also they're saying the quiet part out loud, as always, which is Jinsaki, the former press secretary to Biden, said if the midterms are a referendum on Biden, they're going to lose badly, which is exactly why they have pretended that anyone other than them is a threat to democracy. Trillions of dollars of extra spending, increased inflation, interest rates going through the roof. Honestly, no one's going to fall for the MSNBC version of anyone but Democrat results, end of country.
And his approval rating when it comes to the economy with an inflation rate it's up at a 40-year high is 36%. Only 36% of the American people think he's handling that well. And that's an issue that affects everyone, whether you have the student debt or not, right? Inflation, the price you pay at the grocery store, the price you pay for gas, all of these people are affected, and he's got record low approval numbers on it. And he's not fooling anybody. I mean, the last thing we saw from Joe Biden on inflation was a party at the White House as he signed the, quote, Inflation Reduction Act, which we all knew was nothing of the kind. And then he had the bad luck of having a party complete with James Taylor singing on the very day that we hit record inflation and the stock market crashed. And he's dancing it up in the Rose Garden. He's completely out of touch. And all he can continue saying is MAGA Republicans, which works. I get it. That drives down numbers with independents for the Republican Party, but not more so than what's happening inside their wallet.
Now, just let's talk about Nikki Haley. Now, at one point, Nikki Haley felt like kind of the perfect post-Trump candidate, right? Female, Southern, had some different ethnic heritage, was progressive enough, but apparently she's as terrible as they come, according to a Sheila on The View.
Yeah. Sunny Hostin, who truly is one of the worst. I mean, it's hard to pick, right, on The View. Like, if you had to, like, the collective IQ of the ladies on that set, it doesn't hit the double digits. But in any event, she's really one of the worst. Everything through an ideological prism, and I mean everything. And so she decides, rather than saying, okay, she might be an acceptable Republican candidate, somebody who I could potentially not vomit over, which was the standard they were discussing on that show, she attacked her, suggesting, where did the name Nikki come from? It's Nikki. Where did that come from? And suggested that as an Indian woman, Nikki Haley had chosen, these are Sunny's words, to pass as potentially a white person by changing her name. The implication being, of course, this is a disgustingly racist country and has been for all of Nikki Haley's life, and that no Indian person would ever want to adopt and embrace and be proud of one's Indian culture and heritage. Of course, they would want to pass in our racist white society. The only problem was there wasn't one word of that was true. Nikki is the name on her birth certificate. She's been called that since she was born. And the ultimate chef's kiss piece of the story is Sunny is not Sunny Hostin's name. Sunny's actual name is Ascension, which she said our racist country couldn't pronounce, so she had to change it. Rather than just, you know what? People can't pronounce Megyn either. They say Megan, they say Megan, they say whatever. Even I don't know how to pronounce it. I just kind of mumble it. I don't know how. My point is, you don't have to change it. I don't have to go by Meg. I don't have to go by anything else because we have a terrible country. I didn't decide to call everybody else stupid or racist or what have you.
Well, as always, the left is all about projection. What they criticise you about is 100% what they are doing all the time. And speaking of one of the worst leftists around, our mate Alec Baldwin, he says with gritted teeth, this bloke looks like he's going to be in a world of trouble. But is this going to result in anything other than reputational damage for this bloke?
It's looking more dangerous for him right now than it ever has. The DA is suggesting that they need to bring in more DAs to try at least 4 criminal cases in connection with this case. And they specifically said we might indict Alec Baldwin. So, I mean, there it is in black and white. You don't have to wonder. They didn't say we will. They said we might. So I think if they go after him, it'll be on the basis of, A, he fired the trigger, and they might have him on some sort of negligent homicide charge because most other actors like George Clooney say they always check the gun, even if they're told it's a, quote, cold gun. But secondly, don't forget, he's the executive producer of this whole movie. And there have been reports of poor safety, people walking off set because it was so bad. And there's a real question if they're going to go after the armorer, the person in charge of the guns, or the ammo guy, the person in charge of the ammo, or the assistant director who handed the gun. Whose fault is that ultimately? Well, you could make a good case. It's the fault of the executive producer, who clearly wasn't funding enough to keep this set safe. Now, in my view, that's a civil matter, but I don't know what this DA has up her sleeve.